welcome back. KH Kiplinger, Logan Hubert. This is the K&L Sports Huddle episode number 43. We're going to be recapping week 17 of the NFL as we get set for the last regular week of the regular season with week 18 and our picks against the spread. We'll be previewing the college football playoff quarterfinal matchup starting up tomorrow. Recording this on Tuesday, so New Year's Eve and New Year's Day for the quarterfinal matchups. Logan, it's good to see you again. Hope you have your New Year's resolutions ready to go, and we're ready when you are to do the weekly Whiplash.
Absolutely. Hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas. I know I did. And let's get this things going. Speaking of Christmas, I would say pretty good gift for Michigan. Knowing where their program is currently at, getting like the complete reverse controversial guy in former Utah head coach Kyle Whittingham to take the job as head coach of the Michigan Wolverines. I like this hire because I don't think it's going to be long term because he's kind of an older guy, but I feel like he's kind of the correct guy to right the ship and bring like a healthy culture back to Michigan. Yeah, some people kind of made fun of the hire because it wasn't like one of the big names that they were trying to get, but yeah. I think this is exactly what Michigan needed at this time. So yeah, good for Michigan. Hopefully they'll be competitive in the Big Ten because it is always exciting when Ohio State and Michigan are both really good at the same time. And other news, the Big Ten, Northwestern hires Chip Kelly as their offensive coordinator. Let's just say his NFL stint with the Raiders didn't go so well. Maybe Northwestern's the perfect job for an offensive coordinator spot for him because not much pressure, but you're still playing in big games in the Big Ten. So what a weird career.
Yeah.
I mean, what an absolutely strange
very
career.
High highs, very low lows.
In both levels, in the Pac-12 and the NFL. I know mostly lows, but there are a few fun games he had as Eagles coach where like, wow, this offense is cool. But yeah, now he's at Northwestern, so we'll see where that takes him. And then lastly, today, December 30th, is LeBron James's 41st birthday. I believe he plays tonight too, so he will be celebrating his birthday, doing what he's been doing for over half of his life, and that is playing professional basketball. So happy birthday, LeBron. Here's to 41 more, mostly in the NBA.
Yeah. It'll be crazy one day when he's not playing because he's never not been playing in our lifetimes since we've been watching it at least. I like the hire for Michigan. Whittingham, the winningest coach at Utah, 177 wins, led them to multiple conference titles, both in the Mountain West and the Pac-12. A 13-0 season in 2008 and numerous bowl wins. He even earned National Coach of the Year honors before. So it's just a good hire with what was left to pick from after the coaching carousel really turned up this offseason. So good.
I wonder if they checked his phone. I wonder if they checked his phone for any messages to like college girls or 20-year-old girls who are like, nope, there are none, so you're approved.
Well, let's move on to our NFL Spotlight, where we recap the previous week of the NFL with our game of the week, our stat that told the story, and our team or player on the rise. We'll start, as always, with our game of the week, and this one worked out on Sunday Night Football with a shootout between the Chicago Bears and the San Francisco 49ers. This was back and forth all game. It really showed off the potential of both of these teams' offenses, but I almost wonder if might be a little bit more worried on either side about the defenses coming into playoff time, because this could be a rematch depending on how the seedings work out after Week 18. We could see this matchup again, if not in the first round, in the second round of the playoffs. So what was your big takeaway from this game?
Yeah, both offenses look playoff ready. I will say that. Both defenses definitely have work to do, as the Bears proved. If they can't get turnovers, they're really not a very good defense. And the 49ers have shown these last 2 weeks that they're really their offense is playing so well that it's making up for it right now. But this defense is not very good with all the injuries they've sustained, no matter what Robert Saleh cooks up, because we saw a week before Phillip Rivers pretty much cooked them until the very end. And then we saw a better offense with Caleb Williams score even more on them. So, yeah, I would say it's concerning for both teams, but and they say defense wins championships. So, I mean, yeah, like the offenses have been great, and it was fun to watch both of them in this game because outside of Purdy's bad pass at the beginning of the game, he was outstanding, and then obviously Caleb Williams had some great throws as well. So, yeah, definitely game of the week if you don't like defense. Which sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't. You're just in the mood for a good shootout, and that's what we had.
And of course, even in a game that he's not even a part of, Patrick Mahomes will get a shout out from Chris Collinsworth. Collinsworth almost trolled the trollers on the play that Brock Purdy made when he had to basically make something out of nothing in the red zone. But a fun watch as always on Sunday Night Football. But our stat that told the story, this one comes on Saturday, and that's the 216 yards and the 4 tutties by Derrick Henry as he runs for a career high with those 36 carries that he had against the Packers in a must-win spot for Baltimore, playing Green Bay. And wow, I had that game way wrong when I picked that one for Saturday. Great performance by Derrick Henry. We'll see. This sets up the matchup that we're kind of all waiting for, the one that decides the AFC North between the Steelers and Ravens.
Yeah, and I regretted my pick for Steelers as soon as the Ravens game ended up, because I was just like, I know there's going to be some shenanigans that happen just because the NFL really wants this Week 18 matchup. Yeah, but yeah, the Packers defense is kind of concerning because without Lamar Jackson, pretty much everyone knew Derrick Henry was going to be the main focal point of the offense. You can say, oh, they don't have Parsons. Well, Parsons was never really known for his run defense to begin with. So
he's an edge rusher.
He was an edge rusher, exactly. So that was a very concerning performance. They will likely, not guaranteed, but likely face the Bears in round 1 of the playoffs, and they've had a pretty good rushing attack with Swift and Tonongai. So I'm worried about Green Bay, all the injuries. But Baltimore, just huge win going into Lambeau, and just pretty much just obliterating Green Bay. Did not see that coming. I picked the Packers as well, so should set up for a fun Sunday Night Football matchup.
Our player on the rise this week goes to Tyler Shough of the New Orleans Saints. We got to spread some love to teams who are not going to be in the playoffs come January. So we'll give it to Tyler Shough here, the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints, and they might have found their quarterback of the future. You know, he's since taken over. He's 5-3 as a starter. He's helped the Saints get to 6-10, winning their 4th straight. And he went 22 of 27 for 333 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Tennessee Titans in a 34-26 win on Sunday. They rallied back from a 13-point deficit to get that win, and it might just, it's the Titans. They've had it. You mentioned it last week. They've had a bit of an easy schedule towards the end of this regular season slate. That maybe you take it with a grain of salt, but where the Saints were, I'd take anything at this point.
Yeah, I thought going in, they were one of the worst teams in the league, and they've certainly shown these past few weeks they're not, because they've been beaten all the other bad teams. So they're clearly in a class above them. And yeah, I mean, what Tyler Shough's proven is that there's no reason at all for the Saints to draft a quarterback in this upcoming draft. You just you ride the hot hand. And anyone who says, oh, he should have started the whole season, I don't think that. Because for one, their schedule was tougher at the beginning of the year, and that could have hurt his development a little bit. And just your first few games. I mean, he was slow his first few games too, but he started to pick up. And since there's really not been since no rookie at all this season's been consistent at all, he's suddenly like a slight favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. So I think it's going to be a down year for MVP and a down year for Offensive Rookie of the Year this year. But I mean, that's exactly probably who I would have picked as well, because you're the one who picks these. But I mean, yeah, he deserves the praise because a lot of people kind of clown the Saints for passing on Shador or even just taking Shuck that high. But
yeah,
he's worked well, and I think Kellen Moore deserves credit too because he's. I mean, no one really thought the Saints' offense was very good going into the year because all their stars were aging. But Chris Olave has quietly had like one of the best receiver seasons this year. When he's mostly gone up in stats with Shuck. So, yep, it'll be interesting to see how they do next year because you could argue they're the best team in their division right now.
Yeah, this could grow into a good quarterback coach relationship. New guy in the QB spot, new guy in the coaching spot, and they're both coming in at the same time, and they can really grow within this. And as long as the Saints front office gives Moore and Shuck the time they need to develop, yeah, should be interesting to see. The Saints fans need something. I mean, since Breeze left, it's been rough. We'll see how it goes for him in the future. It is time to get to our signature segment on this podcast. That is the spreadsheet, our picks against the spread, and our last one for the regular season before we head into playoff football. Little overview for week 18. I guess week 17. Let's take a look back. I went 7-8-1. I hit on my dirty dog. That was the Cleveland Browns, and I remember I doubled down and said they would win, and they did just that. My lock did not hit, though, by half a point. That was the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Colts. And then my stay away was a good stay away mention because Tampa Bay did not show up in Miami.
No, they did not. Let's see. So I went 7-8-1, so not great, but could have been worse. Let's see. My lock did not hit. That was the Raiders. The Raiders. I was actually surprised. The Raiders clearly showed they just do not care anymore. So I just thought that was the perfect situation for them to ruin their fans, but make their fans hate them even more by getting out of the number one pick. But no, that's what the Giants usually do when they did that this past week. Let's see. My do not bet was a good one. That was the Steelers and Browns. I took Steelers, but I was like, yeah, there could be some shenanigans here, and I was right, but I picked the wrong team. And then my dirty dog did not win, but they were close to winning, and I was right. The Chiefs and the Broncos. Yeah, I thought that spread was way too big for a divisional game on the road. So, yeah, that was not a great week, but I'm still above 500. Going into week 18, which might be you're looking. I mean, there's some bets this week I really love, and some bets that I really hate. This is the complete mixed bag. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Okay, so week 18, a little overview. We got some pretty important games mixed in with some games you can probably skip. If the Ravens lose on Sunday Night Football to the Steelers, eliminating them from the playoffs, we would see a very rare playoff field without some heavy hitters. So with the Ravens loss, we would see 3 teams inside the top 5 in preseason odds to win the Super Bowl out of the playoffs. That's Baltimore, KC, and Detroit. First time that has happened since 2018. We would see 2 teams that entered the season with under 10-1 odds to win the Super Bowl out of the playoffs, Baltimore and KC. First time that has happened since 2017 and 6th time since 2000. We currently have 4 division titles up for grabs, and so far the only preseason favorite to win their division is the Eagles. If the Steelers, Jaguars, Panthers, and Seahawks all win their respective divisions, it would be the fewest preseason favorites to be crowned champs since 2008. So pretty fun year that we've had up to this point, and it could get a little crazier as we finish things out with week 18. But let's get it started with Saturday. We don't have a Thursday night game this week, nor do we have a Monday night game. So it's all packed into Saturday and Sunday. We'll start with the Panthers at the Bucks. Playoff and draft scenarios in effect for this game. Carolina, if they win versus Tampa Bay, they obviously win the NFC South and the 4th seed. Or if Atlanta beats New Orleans, that would also help them out there. Tampa Bay, if a win versus Carolina and New Orleans beats Atlanta, they get the 4th seed. So big spot. This one is sitting at -3 in favor of Tampa Bay. I'm going Tampa Bay on this one. I just think at some point they got to get they got to right the ship, and what better way to do it than Week 18 to get them into the playoffs?
Yeah, Panthers are my dirty dog of the week
Oh no.
because, well, because for one, I'm just not picking many dogs, not picking many underdogs this week, and two, we keep saying this about Tampa, and I've been saying it too. But I mean, what? I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, you lose to Miami, Quinn Ewers in Miami. What the hell was going on? I mean, there's way more than what we're seeing on the field that's happening in that locker room. Um, Plus, Carolina has bounced back all year. They've. I mean, they're. If don't let the loss to Seattle deter you. In fact, that kind of makes me more confident in them that they're going to bounce back because that's just what they've been doing all year. They've been having some highs and they fall down and they get back up and they fall down again, get back up. It's just what they've been doing all year. The NFL could slightly rig this game to make the Atlanta game more interesting. It could. That's a scenario, but I just think if we're just getting rid of the getting rid of the cheat NFL getting their dirty little fingers in this game. Excuse me. I believe that Carolina's just the better team at the moment, so I'll take them +3 and to win. Other Saturday game. This one decides the 1 seed. Who's the 1 seed and who gets to play the NFC South champion as the 5th seed. So this is Seattle at San Francisco. Last I checked, Seattle is a 1.5 point road favorite. And I know San Francisco's defense has looked awful lately, but I'm going to go with the 49ers at home at +1.5. Because in these big games against divisional opponents, so I'll count the 2 Rams games and the 49ers game in week 1, Sam Darnold has not been good in like 90% of the time during those games. He's not been good. The only exception was the last half of the 4th quarter and overtime against the Rams at home on Thursday night. And even that required just an absolute fluke 2-point conversion. I mean, look back at the San Francisco game week 1. He threw for 150 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, but he had a costly fumble that really impacted that game. So I like San Francisco at home. I just think their offense is on a roll right now. And this is the exact same. This is the exact same thing we saw last year. Sam Darnold on the road against a divisional opponent to decide the 1 seed or the 5 seed. And last year he just completely melted down. And history likes to repeat itself, so I'm going to go 49ers.
I'm right there with you. I'm taking the Niners at +1.5. The Niners famously now do not need to leave San Francisco to win the Super Bowl if they keep winning. They finish out this regular season at home, and if they get the 1 seed, then they have home field advantage through the playoffs, and then the Super Bowl is at Levi Stadium. It's a pretty cool spot for them to be in. Another reason why I took them to win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year.
Did we both have them as the 1 seed? I can't remember.
I
know we both had them in the Super Bowl. I can't remember if we both had them as the 1 seed.
I think I did, just because of their strength of schedule would get them to that point, and it's about to play out. Yep. If our pick is correct here. Brock Purdy is 9-8 straight up in his career at home, including 11-3 straight up in December or later, and 5-0 straight up in January or later. So it's a good time of year to be at home if you're the 49ers with Brock Purdy. So I like this pick a lot, especially as underdogs at home. Moving on to the Sunday slate, I'm starting with the Saints and Falcons here. This one at -3.5 in favor of Atlanta at home. As we mentioned, the Saints are streaking. They've won 4 straight outright, and they've now covered 5 in a row. They're simply a different team with Chuck starting at QB this season, and I'm going to go with them. But since there's a hook here at 3.5, I will take Saints on the road in Atlanta. Atlanta's been on a bit of a hot streak as well in their own right, obviously taking down a giant in the Rams on Monday Night Football just last night. Vibes probably a little high with them right now, but I think this could be a letdown spot for them after, neither team is really playing for anything, but they're really playing for the future here.
Yeah, I got this at -3. and I said Falcons, but I do not like it. So I'm going to go with what I have. I added -3. If it was 3.5, I'd probably be with you. I do not like this because the Falcons have been also a roller coaster all year, and the Saints are also due for a loss, you could say. But I just went by, since I don't like this, I just went by the previous result, and Atlanta went into New Orleans back in November and won 24-10. Um, that gave me the little edge to make me decide the Falcons at -3. And like we said, this game will have much more impact if Tampa wins on Saturday. Then this game actually means something, not for either team that's playing in it, but for who wins the division. Because a 3-way tie would give the division title to the Panthers. Okay, next we have Browns at Bengals. Correct. Okay, Bengals are 7.5-point home favorites. So both teams coming off a win. Both teams have losing records, but they're both coming off a win this past Sunday. Bengals dominated the Cardinals, and then Shedeur Sanders single-handedly beat the Steelers on Sunday. So where do we go? I'm going to go Bengals -7.5 because bad team coming off a big win fails to cover.
You love that.
I love it, and it works most of the time. I mean, just think that you could almost argue that was the Browns' Super Bowl this year over Pittsburgh. So, like, they got their final win. They got a win at the end of the year. I don't think they're going to care as much about this one. And I think the Bengals have been kicking tomato cans these last 2 weeks, and I think they're going to continue to do that for another week. So, give me the Bengals at -7.5.
I'm with you. I like my Bengals to just continue to blow out bad teams to finish the year. It feels like Burrow's playing angry. It's just like obliterating his opponent. And say what you want about the opponents he's playing, but I think it says something about his competitive fire to keep playing when there really isn't anything to play for. And I've been riding the Browns the past couple of weeks as my dirty dog. I think that needs to stop right here at week 18. Myles Garrett is still fighting his way for the sack record. He needs just a half sack to tie and a full sack to break the single season record. He was held sackless by the Steelers last week, so I'm kind of worried about that in terms of Burrow continuing to play with our line. But I think as far as the final score, I think we can cover that 7.5. So I'm right there with you.
I don't know. They gave him a BS. I mean, they gave him an absolute BS sack 2 weeks ago on Josh Allen. Did you see that?
I did not.
They showed the play and they say Myles Garrett gets credit for half a sack here, and he did nothing. I'm like, okay, I don't know about this. Yeah. I mean, right. Myles Garrett's like, we're talking about offensive, how bad the MVP and the offensive rookie of the year is going to be. I mean, this is the most decisive. This is one of the best defensive players of the years we've had in a while. So, yeah, I'm not discrediting what Myles Garrett's done. I'm just saying it's a little fishy that he's this close to the record. They're kind of giving him.
They want him to get there. Yeah. Everyone wants him to get there. So.
Yeah.
Packers at the Vikings is where I'm going next here. This is a 5.5-point spread in favor of Minnesota at home. Obviously, some scenarios here. Like, Packers have, I believe, locked in the 7th seed, so seeding does not play a factor here. But to me, like having the Vikings be this big a home favorite, even if it's Malik Willis or whoever is quarterbacking, I don't trust this line favoring Minnesota. They've been decent when they had McCarthy out there the couple of weeks they had him, but Brosmer, who knows? I'm going with Green Bay here. I think this is just way too big of a line at home for a team that just hasn't played well consistently throughout this season. As big home favorites against the Packers this week, the Vikings, at any line of 6 or more, this would be the Vikings' biggest favorite versus Green Bay since 2017, when they closed 8.5 on the road in Green Bay when Case Keenum started against Brett Hundley. So I don't know what happened with that game, but I'm picking Green Bay in this one.
It'll be interesting to see what the Packers do because they have nothing to play for. I would imagine they rest starters, but they need positive momentum, frankly, going into the postseason. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I went with the Vikings just because I think the Packers having nothing to play for. I mean, this is another one I do not like. It's not my do not bet, but it's one I do not like because you just really don't know the Packers' feelings on this game. Minnesota's defense just absolutely manhandled the Lions' offense on Christmas last week. Not many saw that coming. I mean, we all knew the Vikings defense was decent, but I mean, yeah, they just single handedly won them that game. Andrew Van Ginkel, I feel like anytime he scores more defensive touchdowns than any guy I've ever seen. Whether it's his skill or just luck, it's for some reason it's always him. It's always him scoring a touchdown. I don't know how he does it, but it's amazing to watch. So yeah, but like this is another one I do not like, but I'm going to go Vikings -5.5 due to Green Bay's uncertainty. Okay, Cowboys at the Giants. Cowboys are 4.5-point road favorites. Is that what I'm seeing? This is close to my lock. I didn't go with it fully, but I'm assuming everyone who's healthy for the Cowboys is playing, right?
As far as I've seen.
Dak against a bad divisional opponent on the road against a team who's coming off a bad team coming off a win. I mean, actually, I might even change this to my lock. Yeah. The other one I like too. Yeah, okay. Well, it's one of my locks. I'll have 2 locks this week. Cowboys -4.5. The more I think about it, the more I like it.
Yeah. How many times have we banged that drum? The Dak against a bad team, and not only that, a divisional opponent. And he just likes going to MetLife Stadium and beating up on the Giants.
Plus, like I said, plus a bad team coming off a win. I mean,
right.
Yeah, I don't know how I didn't notice this earlier.
And they've beaten the Giants outright in 9 straight meetings. So I just would, if this is going to be a blowout one way or the other, I'd say it would go blowout in favor of the Cowboys. So that I'll take the -4.5 with Dallas. Titans at the Jaguars.
I will say there's been so many games of the year. There's been so many games of the year this year. I feel like this one gets forgotten, but that week 2 Cowboys Giants game, many people have forgotten about it.
Russell
but that
Wilson.
really was one of the best games of the year. Yeah,
that one was a lot of fun. That was another one of those shootouts that we've had throughout this regular season. Titans at the Jaguars. Jaguars 11.5-point favorites. So there's a lot of different scenarios for Jacksonville this week. So they can still be the 1, 2, 3, 5, or 6 seed, depending on how a bunch of different things play out. I won't go through all the scenarios because it just hurts my head. But let's just say they should want to win this game. It's a divisional opponent. It's at home. Way to finish the year out strong. I'm going to take them on the spread here. Big spread. Titans. Say what you want. We're cover monsters there for a while, but I don't think it happens for them this week.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. Broncos Patriots don't play till the evening, so they won't know about the 1 seed. So yeah, they'll have every reason to play the whole game. And yeah, I would say Jags would want to decisively win the AFC South as well because a win they clinch the division. So yep, I like Jacksonville as well. It's not my favorite bet of the week, but I feel more confident in the Jaguars than I do the Titans. Okay, the other AFC South matchup, Colts at the Texans. Texans are 10.5-point home favorites. It looks like it'll be Riley Leonard starting for the Colts. Looks like the Phillip Rivers era is once again over until he comes back next year. But I like the Texans at -10.5, mostly because it's Riley Leonard versus this Houston defense. I kind of feel bad in your first ever career start. He didn't play in the Jacksonville game, but your first ever career start against one of the best defenses we've seen, I feel like, in the last 10 years. So, yeah, I like the Texans. The only thing that makes me hesitate is if Jacksonville, if they're scoreboard watching and Jacksonville gets off to a big lead, Houston really has nothing to play for. So they could easily take their foot off the gas in the second half, and like the Colts could easily have a backdoor cover here. But I'm just going to hope that doesn't happen, and the Texans cover that 10.5-point spread.
Yeah, I'm factoring that scenario in because I'm taking the Colts at plus 10.5 as my dirty dog of the week. My angle on this is that Houston defense really has no tape on Riley Leonard, and as good of a defense as they are, we see this happen a lot with just first time QBs having a little bit of a beginner's luck. And since he's a dual threat QB, he could be the difference in this game being close as opposed to Houston just running away with it. And with Riley Leonard slated to start, he would be the 16th different Colts QB to start for the franchise since Peyton Manning left at the end of 2011. Now, with the Texans side of things, they faced a rookie QB 8 times under D'Amico Ryans, and Houston is 6-2 straight up, winning 6 in a row outright. At home in Houston, things have been relatively tight, though. Winning by 3 versus Cam Ward, 20 versus Drake May, that was a big one, but only by 3 against Will Levis, and losing outright by 2 to Bryce Young. So I think some of those things play into my pick here, and it's just one of those weird games at the end of the year that I'm going with the dirty dog here, and that's the Colts in this spot. Jets at the Bills. I didn't even want to mention this game because I'm obviously going Bills here. This is 7.5. Thought it'd be much higher on this line, so I'm going Bills minus 7.5. No trends, no big matchup things to discuss, but I just think they're much better.
Yeah, the only reason the Bills would care if they care about where they're seated in the wild card spot, that's because they can't win the division anymore. But yeah, you just cannot bet on the Jets right now. You just can't. So I'll take the Bills at home at 7.5, the 7.5-point favorites as well. Okay, now we're looking at Lions at the Bears. Bears are just 2.5-point home favorites, which is interesting. These two teams did meet in week 2, and the Lions just absolutely shellacked Chicago at home. Was like 52-21. I don't know if that's taken into account here, but I like the Bears at minus 2.5 because the NFL is drooling at the mouth at a potential Bears-Packers wild card game, and a Bears win would give them the 2 seed, and we already know Green Bay is locked up 7 seed. So yeah, give me the Bears minus 2.5.
Yeah, Lions don't really have anything to play for. They've had a season from hell. It's a revenge spot for the Chicago Bears after getting blown away the last time. And Caleb Williams, he's 0-3 straight up versus Dan Campbell's Lions in his career. This will be Ben Johnson's second crack at Detroit, and I think they get him here by a pretty decent margin. So I especially under a field goal. This is my lock of the week. Is taking Chicago at home to finish out the week 18 there. Chargers at the Broncos. This is another big spread, 11.5-point favorites that the Broncos are at home. A lot of that has to do with the fact that the Chargers have decided to rest all of their starters in this game against the Broncos, which means no Justin Herbert under center. We get Trey Lance in week 18, don't you know? There are some scenarios here for both teams when it comes to playoff seeding, but I think it's more important for the Broncos in this spot. And I just, like, with everyone being sat for LA, I just think this is you got to go Broncos here. It is a big spread, and they haven't been great against the spread as favorites this season. Only 2-9, but this spot just seems right given the circumstances.
This is my other lock of the week, and I'm taking Denver minus 11.5. We saw this, just like the Sam Darnold thing, we saw this exact scenario last week 18. Broncos hosting the Chiefs. Week 18, Chiefs sat all their starters. What did the Broncos do? They won 38-0.
I hated that. It booted Cincinnati out of the playoff.
Yes. And I see this here. Chargers resting all their starters. Broncos can lock up the 1 seed. So there's no reason to rest your starters because if you win this game, you get a bye week anyways. Yeah. Broncos minus 11.5. I love this bet, despite the the largeness of the spread, I think the Broncos win by a lot here. Okay, other AFC West game. This one, playoff wise, doesn't mean too much, but could be Travis Kelce's last career game. Never know. Chiefs at the Raiders. Chiefs are 5.5-point favorites. I do not like this one, but this is exactly how I felt about the Bills Jets game, where I mean you just can't put money on the Raiders. I don't care who they're playing. They could be playing Ohio State, and I wouldn't put money on the Raiders.
Probably because they'd be favored against Ohio State, and I would pick Ohio State on the spread there.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll go with the Chiefs. I don't like this because I think they played well last week, so they could be in for a little letdown. But, I think Kelce will try to go out strong, and Andy Reid will make sure they Chiefs end the season with a little bit of momentum. So, Chiefs minus 5.5.
Yeah, I agree. And the Raiders, they clinched the number one pick with a loss as well. So, worst game of Week 18. Easily. This is the stay away as well for me. No idea who's quarterbacking either side in this one. And if I have to, just for the sake of the pick, I'll pick Casey because of Andy Reid's coaching and wanting to, like you said, get send Kelce out on a high note. Cardinals at the Rams. This is Rams 7.5-point favorites at home. Going Rams. I think the Cardinals are just another bad team that doesn't really have anything to play for. And, McVay seemed riled up in the post-game presser after losing to Atlanta, and I think he's going to have his boys whipped into shape, even against a team like the Cardinals, just to have some momentum going into the playoffs. I think this is another easier pick, especially with, this should be, I think, a double-digit spread like some of the others we've seen.
Yeah, you just don't know how motivated the Rams will be. I mean, they will be after an ugly loss, but the thing is, they just don't really have much to play for because they're not going to get the 5 seed. The 5 seed's a dream seed. I know the loser, the 49ers Seahawks, is going to be mad they don't. But I feel like the loser almost gets a bye because they're playing the NFC South champions. So the Rams are going to be in the 6 or 7 seed, probably the 6 seed. They might already have the 6 seed locked up. I don't know, which means they'll probably be playing the Eagles. So
they can get the 5 seed with a win and a San Francisco loss.
A San Francisco loss, okay. So they could be the 5 seed. Okay, so yeah, I guess that's enough. I mean, I took Rams minus 7.5, but my question was, how motivated will they be? And they're going to try to make Stafford throw a bunch of touchdowns to beef up.
I think there's enough motivation there
because it took a big hit yesterday against the Falcons as we're recording this. Okay, what else? What's next? Oh, yes, Dolphins at the Patriots. There's lots. This is another bet I love. Patriots minus 10.5. Patriots love beating weaker opponents. Plus, the Dolphins are coming off a big win. So they got their big win in the year. They're not going to care about this game. The Patriots really remind me of? They remind me of last year's IU football team, where they beat up on like there was no doubt. There's no doubt they were good. Because they beat up on all the inferior teams. Like it was never close. They destroyed them. But they just were rarely ever tested. And then come playoff time, you're like, okay, there are some holes that don't make this team excellent. They're still a good team and not great. I just feel like that's kind of how the Patriots are, and I feel like that's how they will be in the playoffs. I think they'll be really good in the future, but I just think you're still year too early, and they've just benefited from what's been the easiest schedule since like 1999 is what we're seeing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it's not take away from the excellent season they've had. And they'll just continue that against Quinn Ewers and the Dolphins, who have nothing to play for. And the Patriots do have stuff to play for. Although if they're scoreboard watching and they see Denver in control over the Chargers, they might let up a little bit, but I think they'll still. A Mike Vrabel coach team will make sure make the Dolphins question the ability to live.
Yeah, I so wanted this to be Tua up north in December because this would just been the cherry on top of the Sunday for this pick. Yeah, I'm Patriots 10.5. Not expecting too much out of them come playoff time, but I'm fascinated to see what they do with a first place schedule next year. That's going to be what really shows how much they've
And
grown.
they won't be playing the NFC South either. They'll be playing I don't know which division they'll be playing.
Have they already set divisions for next year?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it's a 4-year cycle,
Okay,
so it'll either be the West or the North. So good teams, and then they'll play the AFC West as well. So that'll be
okay.
So yeah, I mean, we'll find out who they really are. I feel like next year, but yeah, it's pretty easy pick.
Commanders at the Eagles. This one's sitting at 7 in favor of Philly at home. Don't really know what to do with this one. This is another stay away. Since it's in division, I tend to want to lean Washington in this spot just because it feels like a spot where Philly is going to be resting some guys. They've already locked up the division. I don't know. Washington feels like they've given up as well. So I'll go Eagles as favorites.
I had this at 6.5 this morning, and this was my do not bet of the week. We're both thinking similarly because I just don't know what even Sirianni said he's not sure what he's going to do with the starters yet. So I would imagine they don't play very much because they would. Yeah, I mean Green Bay's not great, but it's still like a team you like. Oh, I really want to play Green Bay. Like that's a great matchup for us because Jordan Love's won a couple playoff games before, so or at least one playoff game, so he has experience. So yeah, I don't know if the Eagles have much motivation in this. They've already wrapped up the division. They'll probably want to rest guys before the playoffs. But I'll go Eagles minus 6.5. But this is my do not bet because I just don't know who Philadelphia is going to play.
A lot of stay away games in week 18.
A lot of stay away. Like I said, it's a weird week. A lot of games I love and a lot of games I just do not like. And this was one. And Sunday Night Football, you might know what to do here. I had trouble knowing what to do here, but so I got this at 3.5, and I'm only taking Pittsburgh plus 3.5 because of the hook. It's similar to what game was that you had the Falcons and Saints you had earlier. You went with the Saints because of the hook. That's kind of what I'm doing here. I don't know who's going to win this game. I just feel like with the hook, the Steelers are the safer pick because the Ravens have also been very inconsistent this year. And yeah, I know the destiny is on the wall for 9-8 Pittsburgh, so that would require a loss, but maybe they'll lose by just a field goal. So Steelers plus 3.5.
Hey, remember the Steelers have gone 10-7 the last 2 years, so
it
doesn't have to be 9-8. Excellent Week 18 finale to decide the AFC North. Lamar Jackson versus Aaron Rodgers. Whoever wins gets the North and the 4th seed. You know what to do here, and you did it. You took the Steelers as above a field goal dog at home. This is just the perfect Mike Tomlin spot. In this matchup, Ravens-Steelers matchups have always been dominated by the underdog. Since 2005, the underdog in this series is 30, 12, and 3 against the spread. That's 71% in the regular season. The underdog is 25, 7, and 3 against the spread when Mike Tomlin faces John Harbaugh, which we're getting again. Yeah. Mark it down. Steelers get to 10-7 for the 3rd straight season, win the AFC North for the first time since 2020 when they had Big Ben. So, yes, great matchup. Can't wait to watch this one, but I'm picking the Pittsburgh Steelers here.
I'm just not to pat myself on the back, but I will. 2 of my AFC North predictions at the beginning of the year came true. Well, before our preseason, I said the division winner, this is going to be a dogfight, and the division winner is going to be the 4th seed because I said 10-7 for the Ravens. Obviously, that can't happen, but the Steelers could win this at 10-7. And then I also said week 1 after the Steelers beat the Jets that my bold prediction. Remember we did our hot takes after each week. I said I don't know if the Steelers are going to win the division, but it's going to come down to that final week. I haven't gotten too much right on here, but I will say I 100% called that. So
end of season stuff is tough to predict, and you're right on it with that one. So good on you. That wraps up our picks against the spread for week 18. We'll be recapping that week next week whenever we do this, and that'll be it. We'll be doing playoff. We'll be having much fewer games to do from here on out. But let's move on to the campus corner as we get ready for quarterfinal matchups in the college football playoff. We have a few lined up here. New Year's Eve, Miami versus Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl Classic. And then on New Year's Day, we get 3 games spread out throughout across the day. Oregon versus Texas Tech at the Orange Bowl, Alabama and Indiana in the Rose Bowl, and finishing things off with a little SEC matchup between Ole Miss and Georgia Tech in the Sugar Bowl.
Georgia.
Excuse me, not Georgia Tech. Though that would be pretty fun, seeing Haynes King just bulldoze people. That'd be funny. But yes, Ole Miss and Georgia and the Sugar Bowl. We don't need to break down each game individually, but I'll just lay it out for you like this: like which game is the most intriguing one. I think I know which one you might go with, but which one do you have? Like, if you could only watch one and you had plans during all the other game times, which one are you sitting down for?
As a resident of Indiana, I would say definitely if I could only watch one, Alabama and Indiana. I don't know if that's the most intriguing because I feel like the eye test just shows Indiana's the better team. Like I just feel like it's just the biasy of Indiana's always sucked. Alabama's always been good. So Alabama is going to beat Indiana. I just feel like that's kind of the thought that some people have, which it's fair. It's a fair thought. It's a tough thing to get out of your head. I mean, one of the winningest programs of all time against the losingest program of all time. But the eye test has just shown that Indiana can just compete with anybody. But I will say for that game, as we saw last year, the teams on a bye did not look very good coming out of the gate, and a few of them lost, including Oregon as the 1 seed last year. They lost ugly to Ohio State.
Yeah, they did.
Now, I don't think Alabama is as good as last year's Ohio State team, but do keep that in mind. It will be raining in the low 60s for that game, so that is interesting. Usually you picture sunny Pasadena for the Rose Bowl, but it's going to be a downpour on New Year's Day. So I don't think Miami Ohio State's very interesting. No offense, I
don't either.
And the spread kind of shows that Ohio State's 9.5-point favorites. Miami just didn't do much.
That was an ugly game.
Much to inspire you. I mean, you could say their defense is really good, but you could also say Texas A&M's offense was just atrocious. So, Oregon, Texas Tech has the biggest likelihood of being the best game.
Yes.
I think these two teams are very closely aligned. I think Texas Tech, despite winning the Big 12, has kind of flown under people's radar all year. I thought they're comparable outside of like Indiana beating Ohio State at the end of the year. Texas Tech season's super comparable to Indiana if Indiana would have dropped the Penn State game. Like it's almost identical because Texas Tech's like blown everyone else out, but they lost a close one at Arizona State. So Texas Tech's been great all year, and then Oregon had that one we lost to Indiana, but other than that, they've been pretty good too. So. And the SEC Bowl, frankly, I don't really care too much about it. Did these two teams play this year? Or
I believe so. I believe Georgia beat Ole Miss, but I could be mistaken on that one.
Yeah. So I guess the game's in New Orleans, so it'll be a little closer to Ole Miss, but they're also without their head coach.
Right.
So I think Georgia's a pretty heavy favorite here.
Yeah, the Oregon Texas Tech one is the one I'm it's an interesting matchup because it's a high tempo matchup, and really the question comes which defense can make a stop late. And so Texas Tech having their first college football playoff bid in program history, and Oregon knowing what happened to them last year, coming into this playoff, Dan Lanning's going to have those boys ready, and we could end up seeing a deep playoff run by the Oregon Ducks with a team that I think isn't as good as last year's squad, but we know from past experience that teams who have gone through some perseverance and some tough losses has actually worked out very beneficial. Just look at Ohio State last year. So, but yeah, Indiana Alabama is the kind of the premier matchup. I wonder if this will be the Herb Street Fowler, prime spot, or if they'll, go to the SEC Bowl. uh, you could all these games are on ESPN, so we'll see what happens with that. But let's throw just some picks in. Who's going to win here? I'm going to take Ohio State over Miami in the Cotton Bowl. I'm going to go Oregon. I think their offense will be able to outlast against their matchup with Texas Tech. I think Indiana's defense is just, they proved it against the Buckeyes that they're legit, and their defense is going to win this game against Alabama. And then I'm gonna go with Georgia against Ole Miss. I think they're a team that really wins in the trenches, and I think that this game kind of leans their direction. So I'll take Georgia there.
We have the exact same picks. Yep, I want to go Texas Tech, but like the Oregon motivation against the Texas Tech rookie experience as a playoff team, I think that gives Oregon the edge. And like anyone who says, "Oh, but it's in Miami at noon," oh, that's going to throw Oregon off. Yeah, in the regular season it would have, but no, they've been preparing for this game for a while.
They get they play. Who was it? They played James Madison. That was basically a bye week.
James Madison is a bye week, and then they get down to Miami early to get used to the time and all that. And it's going to be great. The Rose Bowl is going to suck weather-wise, but Orange Bowl and Hard Rock Stadium is going to be sunny and mid-60s. What a perfect New Year's Day bowl weather game.
Yep, New Year's 6. These will all funnel into the Fiesta Bowl and the Peach Bowl before heading into a national championship game. But that is it. Let's go to our final word. What to watch for, guys? This one's pretty easy. Watch the ball drop Wednesday night. After watching Ohio State beat up on Miami, hopefully we can just watch some Dick Clark's Rockin' Eve and watch the ball drop into 2026. And that's my what to watch for. I'm not ready to get into basketball games just yet. We'll let the calendar turn over before we get into that.
Well, for my weekly spiel at the end, I will get into basketball. You might know what I'm going to talk about because it is a little bit of a rant. Well, I don't know. I don't think I will say it's a rant. It's kind of a mix of both. But big news in college basketball this past week is that Baylor is getting a new recruit. Recruit in quotations, because this recruit was frankly drafted in 2023 in the NBA. Yeah, he was the 31st overall pick. You might be wondering, well, how he probably played in the NBA. Well, he actually never did technically because he was in Europe and he never really signed the contract. But he did play Summer League, I believe. And this I'm going to talk about is James Nanji. So yeah, but now he is signed with the Baylor Bears and he will join the team starting in January, I believe. I believe he's already there. And yeah, I don't blame Baylor. I do whatever. This is I've been like with NBA. I'm like, if you find loopholes in the rules, expose them until they make you stop. And the NCAA has if they're allowing it, why don't you? You don't have to like it. I don't like it, but I'm all for doing it until they stop it. So that and this has happened the past few weeks too. They're signing guys from Europe who are just going to join mid-season. Like Illinois is signing some guy from Eastern Europe. He's going to just join the team mid-season. Like I think I hate that almost. I hate that almost as much as this. But we're just getting closer and closer and closer, or just eking our way closer to and a guy who's actually played NBA minutes being able to play college basketball. They just keep moving the needle of what they're allowing. So it's just amazing how what was once like the strictest sports organization you'll ever see just decided anything goes now. Anything goes, and that's what we're seeing with what Baylor is now doing. Having a guy who was drafted in the NBA draft, who was technically a part of the Karl Anthony Towns trade to the Knicks because he was one of the draft picks that was traded. So a guy who was a part of the Karl Anthony Towns Knicks trade will now be playing in the Big 12. So.
If you were involved in an NBA trade, you should not be involved in a signing at the college level. That's just nuts. I almost wonder if like all the NCAA just they had their doors closed for so long. They've, like you said, they were one of the strictest, and they didn't just like crack the door open. They just opened it wide. It became the wild west for college sports when it comes to NIL, when it comes to transfer portal, when it comes to eligibility requirements. And I almost think it's hurt college basketball more than it has college football, because at least in football we've gotten the realignment, which has set up a lot of great football matchups that we love, and we kind of take the good with the bad with that. But it seems like it's trickled down and has hurt more for college basketball than it hasn't, because I feel like I see this more in basketball than even in football, with signing guys in these weird eligibility requirements happening at this level. So it is a weird era in college sports that I wish we could get some more rules in place for transfer portal. I know John Calipari said something in a recent interview about like limiting it to one transfer, and then after that they have to sit out if they transfer anymore.
For a year, yeah,
right,
yeah, sit out for a year, which I don't agree with Calipari on much, but I think that's a great start. I think that's a great start. Because sure, if you're not playing at all, you hate the system or your coach leaves, yeah, you should be able to transfer. But the chances of that happening twice in your career are pretty low, and I feel like if you're transferring again, it's due to money. So, yeah.
And so, it's wild west in college sports right now. This Baylor thing with the being these loopholes, you got to take them and you have to do them, and I think doing them is going to help apply some restrictions, because this will continue to happen, and then they'll finally do something about it. So just keep doing it until they finally fix it. That's it. That's the show. This has been the K&L Sports Huddle. For Logan Hubert, I'm Cage Kiplinger. As always, may your bets hit, your team not choke, and your stress levels stay manageable. And we'll huddle up again next week.